Peace. Um, I was asked by a brother to do a video on drugs in prison, and I strive to make my word my bond, as you should. I actually have an interesting story about this particular topic. First and foremost, I cannot stress enough to those of you who have never been incarcerated. It's important that you understand that prison is a condensed um, picture, or how should I say? It's society. It's just on a smaller scale. So it's kind of condensed down. But that's to say that everything that goes on in society goes on in prison in some way or another. Everything. You say, well, you can't sleep with a woman in prison. Yes, you can. You say, no, not that type of woman, the real woman. Yes, you can. Listen, correction officers do not make a whole lot of money, and even if they did, understand it from this standpoint. A young lady goes into a penal institution. She's surrounded by men who give her plenty of attention. She can look like Shanae, but she receives the attention as if she was Beyonce or Rihanna. On top of that, the ones giving her attention look better than the men out here in society. Why? Because they are being preserved. Their skin looks better. Their bodies look better. You understand me? Their hygiene is better. Because you can't walk around in prison stinky. You know? So, if given the opportunity in a corner, it can go down. But to address drugs in prison, listen, how do you think drugs get into the penal institution? Be real with yourself. Do I have to spell it out to you? You have corrupt COs. You have corrupt wardens. Don't be fooled. They care about keeping their correctional institution out the news. So they want to curb fighting, riots, um, attempted escapes, you know, race riots, what have you. How do you do that? What do drugs do for the most part? Relax the person. Whenever you're looking at a movie and someone is in a psych ward, notice the new word is not convict, it's inmate. The first thing the orderly do is medicate. That's a drug. Drugs make it easier, believe it or not, to control. This is why it's so much drugs in the black community. Because we are colonized as a people. But this particular story involves a correction officer. I won't say his name, even though I don't recall it. If I did, I wouldn't say it. Bro was bringing in, I think he was bringing heroin in, and someone leaked it in a way to where the assistant warden had to take action. This was at James River. For those of you who are in Richmond, Virginia, you may have heard of James River. Now there's two James Rivers. There was two. There's one now. The one that remains is the work camp. Years ago, it was another James River at the bottom of the hill. That was like a mid-level institution. If you ever been there, then you know what I'm talking about. At the front gate of James River, there's a a holding cell. And when they caught this particular correctional officer bringing in the drugs, they actually held him in the holding cell for several hours until a sheriff or a deputy came and picked him up. But just to answer brother's question, drugs are controlled on the inside the same way they're controlled on the outside. It's your people with suit and ties that's putting the drug out here. Period. Your model citizens, your politicians, the people you vote for, they're responsible for the drug out here as well as the drugs in there. And the purpose is to make money and control. I mean, they would go as far as setting up a small dealer to make it look as though they're fighting drugs coming into the correctional institution. You know, they would sick their dogs on a small guy, give the big guy who's in partnership with them a heads up, you know? And that's how drugs move in the correctional center. The same way they move out here on the streets, for the same reason. Those at the top make all the bank. Those at the bottom take all the blame. Peace.